We are also joined in Detroit by Congressmember Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American member of Congress. She addressed members of the flotilla, the Handala, earlier this week. What are you calling on the Trump administration to do to ensure the safety of this ship? You previously called for the safe passage of the ship before that Israel raided the Madeleine, Congressmember.
Yeah, I mean, we use the power of the letterhead and getting a lot of my colleagues, so it's not just me alone, but other fellow Americans that don't share my faith or ethnicity or have a close connection to the movement for human rights for the Palestinians. But I can tell you, many of my colleagues are expressing in words to me about the starvation, the forced starvation of the people in Gaza, the Palestinians there, but they're lacking action. Their votes don't meet up with the words of it needs to stop. They have the leverage. They can sign letters, send their own letters. And so for all those listening to, Hawaida, who's from Michigan, from my home state, talking to Chris Smalls, Jacob, and so many, hearing their stories come out of why they're there. They are risking their lives and sacrificing so much to try to break the siege, to go there while they continue, as all of us continue to see the images of just children and so many others, even the parents, just dwindling, their organs shutting down. Mothers, just like me and Hawaida and so many others, expressing like, is it because my child is Palestinian? Is it because they're in Gaza? And it is really incredibly difficult. But the Trump administration knows more. A letter is coming, knowing that, again, all eyes on the flotilla. I'm asking everyone to keep your eyes on there. Pay attention, no matter what country, no matter what community you live in. The majority of folks globally have been standing up and saying enough is enough. And the genocide and the forced starvation, I've been awaken and understanding. Sometimes I wish my colleagues would maybe pretend that they weren't Palestinian and they would actually care and do something to end this madness of, again, allowing people that are just hungry to go to death traps that we, the American people, are paying for to lure them in because they're so hungry. And they know from hearing from other stories that they could lose their life trying to get food. And again, stories after stories, not only from the doctor we listened to and Hawaida's previous experience of even trying to break the siege. This is not the first, nor will it be the last time that, again, the Israeli government violates international law. They consistently do it. They have for decades. And so we're going to continue, again, trying to elevate and make Congress move. And we can do that by having members, Americans from outside that institution, demand their member do what they're asking.
So I want to ask you about where you're from, your family from the West Bank. And I want to ask you about the killing of another U.S. citizen by Israeli forces, Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank, fatally beat 20-year-old Palestinian American from Tampa, Florida, earlier this month, Salah Musalat, known as Saif by his family. He was visiting his village, Al-Masra al-Sharqiya, reportedly the 7th American killed in the West Bank, Gaza, Lebanon, since October 2023. A second Palestinian, Mohammed al-Shalabi, was shot dead during the settler attack. Musalat's cousin, Diana, read a statement from the family.
We are devastated that our beloved Salah Musalat, nicknamed Saif, was brutally beaten to death in our family's land by illegal Israeli settlers who were attempting to steal it. Israeli settlers surrounded Saif for over 3 hours as paramedics attempted to reach him, but the mob of settlers blocked the ambulance and paramedics from providing life-saving aid. After the mob of Israeli settlers cleared, hours later, Saif's younger brother rushed to carry him to the ambulance. Saif was killed and died before reaching the hospital.
And just this week, the Israeli Knesset, the parliament, voted 71-13 for a non-binding motion to annex the occupied West Bank. It calls the West Bank an inseparable part of the land of Israel. Can I get your response to what the U.S. government is doing about the killing of its citizen, Saif, and this latest news from the Knesset?
The American government is doing absolutely nothing as per usual, around an American citizen that has been killed. Again, military and others watch this happen, watch extremists. And, again, these are Israelis, and people call them settlers. They're extremist Israelis. Nobody knows what these are folks coming into with Israeli citizenship, coming in to take land. But it's, I don't like when people call it a clash. They came for the intention of forcibly, with force, with violence, killing people, to take, again, property or to harass. And sometimes it's just to intentionally harass and target the Palestinian people, because the goal here is, and the Knesset told us, is to ethnically cleanse anyone who is Palestinian that is, again, different faiths. But if you're Palestinian, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, you again are going to be pushed out of this of the land, being pushed out again, all under this movement again to completely get rid of the Palestinian people from all corners of the country. And again, this is even Palestinian citizens of Israel are being targeted. I don't know if people realize there's integrated communities where now the Palestinian people there, again, that have Israeli citizenship are also being targeted. All this to say is, I don't care if it's in Jerusalem, in the integrated neighborhood or community, or in the West Bank. What happened to Saif, what happened to Muhammad, what happened, again, continues to happen with American people, is the experience of the Palestinian people there that are not American. It happens all the time. It is consistent. And one of the things that people need to know is that these are Israeli citizens, folks just walking around with the enabling and the support of the Israeli military and the genocidal maniac Netanyahu. They have set out the bastion and go for it. Go ahead and ethnically cleanse. And then the Knesset just showed them with the vote. That's exactly what they want to do. And the American government and my colleagues, Democrat and Republican, sit by idly and say, that's terrible, or I don't like Netanyahu. Great. Then stop sending him and the country our money. Use it as leverage to uphold human rights. Use it in a way, again, to uplift what we all believe in. No one should be forced to starve. No one should be pushed out of their land, again, illegally, to violate international laws. All of those things to say is, Amy, I watched in a committee people just distressed of an American being brutally killed in Syria and wanting to insist on sanctions, again, that hurt the people on the ground. But the fact that they were willing to do it there, but not when it comes to the Israeli government. There's always an exception when it comes to the Palestinian people. It is completely racialized. Again, I intentionally say in my speeches on the House floor, if you need to close your eyes and pretend they're not Palestinian, they're not brown, they're not Muslim, they're not Christian, all of these things, I wonder if my colleagues would act differently. I really do think they would. And again, many of my colleagues try to send letters, but even their letters there's racist tropes in those letters. There's words in those letters that even erase, again, the brutality of what happened to Saif and so many others. And, I've been there 7 years, and it's getting worse, not better, even as we watch the genocide live on social media platforms, even as we hear from Americans in our own backyard talk about their loved ones being targeted and brutally murdered. And again, Saif and Muhammad has exposed to us what happens to the Palestinian people who are not Americans every single day that they live there.
Finally, the Republicans in the Financial Services Committee voted to block an amendment from you, Congressmember Rashida Tlaib. This is on a different issue, which would have forced the release of Jeffrey Epstein's financial files, particularly details about his shady, suspicious financial transactions, the dead child sex trafficker. Recent reports reveal billions of dollars in payments to women, including those in Belarus and Russia. You also signed on to a House bipartisan measure introduced by Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna demanding the release of the files. In this last 30 seconds we have, why is this so critical to you? And this on the second day meeting of Trump's former personal lawyer, now the Deputy Attorney General, and Ghislaine Maxwell.
I think it's important to know there are 3 banks, very large banks, JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America and another Bank Mellon in New York, all three of them did not, within the regulations or requirements, within 60 days of those transactions by Epstein, report those transactions. There's, again, required within 60 days. Amy, they waited until he was arrested in 2019. We're not talking about 100 or 200, over 4,000 transactions amounting to $1.5 billion. It is important and critical to understand who was involved directly in the human trafficking of young women.
3 seconds.
Who, again, enabled it.
Democratic Congressmember Rashida Tlaib, I want to thank you for being with us, of Michigan, the only Palestinian American member of Congress. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.